We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity for Personality Masteries. Hi, my name is Mark Boersma. I'm here today with a good friend of mine, Tom Kunz. And I think back, I don't know how many years it was that Tom and I were in Nashville and we had just grabbed lunch. I think it was a Subway lunch, and we were driving. And Tom said, have you and Life Masteries ever thought about putting the personality stuff into a mobile app? And I said, I've thought about it, and Life Masteries talked a little bit about it. And here, many years later, it's a reality. So today's going to be kind of a working session where we're just going to talk. But before we do that, Tom, you've experienced personality masteries. You've experienced a lot of personality tests and all those kind of things. On the personality masteries, a number of years ago, you actually did the personality, I think over Christmas or something on your family. Can you share with people just your experience with personality masteries and how it's helped you or how it can help other people?
Yeah, it's interesting because once I went through the personality masteries, it was like, I think I told you, it was like I had a operational manual for whoever, who had gone through this and who had seen the processes. So it was always interesting to see how everybody reacted to the different courses and things that you had in the program. And still to this day, is amazing to me.
It's really cool to go ahead and see, how it's come together. And the Life GPS, it's a web mobile app. And so it's free. People can just register for it. And so just giving everyone kind of an overview, there are there are channels. I have my own channel. You can get your own channel. It can be an individual personal channel like mine, or it can go ahead and be a company or a group or an organization and have it. After you have the channel, then underneath the channel, there's groups. And so in different channels, there's going to be different groups. And so I have a whole bunch of groups underneath my channel, like a ton of them. One of those groups is going to be the friendship group. And so in the friendship group, underneath the group, there's going to be topics. And so in these different topics, you can have, so in friendship, I have level one friends, level two, level three, level four, and then resolving conflict questions, and then feelings. And so I have different things, and it knows my personality. And then it also knows the personality of others that are in the group. So there's 14 people in that group. And so when I go ahead and go into here, what there are is AIs incorporated into this. And so it goes through, and so it knows that I'm a driver analytic in the geo. It knows that I'm a driver or an analytic driver in the geo. And then it knows that I'm a driver analytic here. And so it goes through and then the combined. So there's 12 videos, and I can listen to these videos, and they're typically about 2.5 minutes. They're anywhere from 1 minute to 3 minute in length. And it tells me about myself. It tells me about myself and where I am so I can learn. And that's one of the things that was interesting about Tom when he went through Life Masteries Institute. They're a nonprofit. They're the ones that put all this together. Amazing organization. And and Tom is one of the most self-aware people that I know. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And I remember when he went through and he said, I've been through so many courses, but I've never been through anything like this. And I said, what'd you like most about it? And he said, I understood myself. And it's like, and that's what I have found. Like I've been blessed to be an international speaker and author, traveled all around the world. I've written 16 books, and all of them incorporate personalities. But when I use the Life GPS mobile app, it helped me to go ahead and understand my wife and my kids in a different way. And so what I can do is it brings up here on the personality grid, so it knows it's me. and it brings up, and so I can click on any one of these other people in the group. So if I want to go ahead and, click on Ted, I can do that. If I want to go ahead and click on Luke, I can do that. So there's different people that are in here. And so I can go ahead and click on the different personalities. And what it does is it shows me them versus me. And so I can do a compare, and it'll bring up my personality and their personality. And then I can watch these videos, and it will help me to understand myself, but it will help me to also understand them. And they can do the same thing. And so it goes through and does all of that. Again, this is kind of an overview. Then it goes down into, in the lower left-hand side, is global topics. And so global topics are topics that are available. So no matter what channel or group you participate in, these are topics that are available for everybody. And so if I wanted to improve my communication, I can just click on this. And what it does is then it goes ahead and gives kind of an overview of it. And then it goes ahead and has suggestions. So here's a podcast that I think about a 20-minute or 12 minutes. So this is about a 13-minute podcast on communication. Now, what we know is we know when people go through seminars and workshops, we know that often they walk away they walk away learning things that maybe that aren't good for them, aren't the best for them, and they don't walk away with the things that are the best for them. For example, so my wife and I, we've been married for 40 years. And so we go to a marriage seminar, and I'm a driver analytic, and I hear everything in the marriage seminar on how my wife should be more driven, more detailed, more specific. And I think this is a great seminar because they're talking to her. And so I go home thinking our marriage is going to be better. She is an amiable personality. What she hears is she hears on how I'm supposed to be nicer to her. And I'm supposed to be nicer to the kids and more patient. And she said, this is a great seminar. Like this, our marriage is going to be better because Mark is hearing everything that he should hear, and he's going to be a better husband. So I'm hearing what she should be doing. And maybe she should, maybe she shouldn't. She's hearing what I should be doing. Maybe I should. But it doesn't help us. We get home and neither of us have changed. And that happens with all personalities. So what we can do in here is we can go ahead and predict this. We can know that what people are going to do, and we can actually tell them before they go through the seminar or the event or the podcast or whatever, and it will help them to understand these are things that you're likely going to hear. Maybe that's okay, but here are things that you're going to miss. And so it's good for businesses, it's good for nonprofit organizations, it's good for individuals. It's got all kinds of applications. Questions on this, Tom?
No, that's really interesting. So if a business had this and used it, then what, if I heard you right, they could all, if they're having a meeting or whatever, they could almost have anybody who's coming go through this process and get the personality and match it all up. And then actually, before they even go there, understand what they need to be listening for and working with and what they'll
Exactly.
walk out with. Is that correct?
That's exactly correct.
Wow. Interesting.
And then it's got things about, like, here is feelings. This one is, this is the communication is good for business or personal, either way. The feelings, this is probably more of a personal type of thing. So it helps each of the personalities understand.
Question, Mark,
Yeah,
or go far. Thinking back to the one just before this, when you were, what we were talking about, is there a way, let's say I'm recruiting real estate agents. Is there a way I could work this into some kind of communication to the people that I want to try to recruit and just say, would you mind filling this out? and then not only look at the personality differences, but then also get the communication that would help me communicate what I want to communicate to them in a way that they're going to really hear what I want them to hear and walk away.
You can. Like it can go ahead. It's like what we have been talking about for over 20 years. It's like the dream salesperson. Like it can go ahead and it can go ahead and present. So each of the four personalities, so the analytic is going to want, as an example for Engel and Volker's, the analytic is going to want to know about the details and going to want to know, all of the specifics and all of those type of things. So it can highlight that for that person. It could be, it could be, your voice, your video. Engel and Volkers can put their own, videos in there, whatever. Whoever owns the channel, they have control over everything. They have control over the groups. They have control over the topics. They have control over everything. What I'm doing, Tom, which I'm surprised by, like what I'm doing is I'm just kind of dumping down my knowledge that I know about communications or about feelings or whatever. I'm putting that down into a spreadsheet. And then Life Mastery's media team goes in and takes all of that and they put it into AI. And AI will take everything that I know about the topic about analytics or drivers or expressive or amiable as it relates to communications or as it relates to Engel and Volkers. Like you can put all of that in and AI will pound out these videos with voiceovers. I mean, it's so effective, Tom, that I went ahead and on the one of the communications one, I think it was communicate, maybe it was the feelings. I think it was feeling, one of those two. And I showed it by our youngest daughter. I showed her the video and she thought the story I'd been telling about Grandpa, Boersma, about the, some percentage of truth. She heard it on here and she says, Dad, I thought that was your story. Like, you didn't tell us the truth. She thought, and you can have all different type of accents on it. You can have from England, or you can have, from ever. So she thought that video actually came from somebody else other than me. And she thought I had taken my story from that. She didn't even realize it was my story that was put into it. And I had another daughter that had the same type of thing happen with a totally different video. So it's really fascinating. And so it's designed to where it can do all of that. And then they're building now where it can be like a strategic strike where you could set up, they're working on that now. The programming team is working on it now, where you could go ahead and have messages that could go ahead and continue to go out to them that kind of moves them along the decision-making process to win them over. And so you could touch them with the analytic first, and then you could touch them with the driver. And then if you wanted to expressive, or you could go into the pain quadrant. And so as a general rule, what I'm doing on these, Tom, for all the different things that I'm working on with this, is the geo test tells people what they know about themselves, what they like to hear. And they're like, wow, this is really accurate. This is amazing how accurate it is. The pain quadrant, so we tend to like people who are like us. The pain quadrant tells them something that stretches them. We tend to fall in love with people who are opposite of us. So they challenge us. And so the pain challenges them and they say, ouch, but it's a good thing. Like, that's really insightful. Like my strength is my greatest weakness. And then the combined, that puts it into action. Like, what action should you take on communication or something like that? And so this is something that's been, a dream of yours and mine for over 20 years. And there are some crazy things, like there are specific custom applications that Life Masteries is working on with a number of CPA accounting firms that specifically to them. and they're actually building in a system for tracking all their numbers.
Wow.
And they're building in a CRM system now that connects back into this, and being able to go through and say, how do we track this? How do we help to move people? When you said to me years ago, you said, Mark, what's the difference between a landlord and a tenant? And I'm like, I'm not sure. And you said how they think. And I'm like, huh. And so what's the difference between an agent, that, does 3 million in sales a year and somebody does 30 million in sales a year? It's how they think. So the biggest challenge, the biggest challenge in leadership is getting people to learn to think differently. And so, you know, often, and this, like when you challenge people into thinking differently, they might take offense at it. But with a mobile app, it's hard for them to take offense. Like this is sharing them, and it helps to move them gradually, almost like braces, in your teeth, where it's like, okay, here's this and here's this. So it moves them, from where they're at to where they need to be to get to achieve what they want to achieve. And the thing that's cool about it is that it's fun. And so they can use it from a professional perspective, but also from a personal perspective with their marriage. It can help them with their marriage or their kids, relationships, all of those type of things.
Interesting. You've really taken it a long way.
It's, I mean, it, yeah, yeah. Life Masteries has done a great job and being diligent with it. And with one of the hardest things about it is the video production. And once AI hit and they figured out how to use all that, now that makes it very affordable and very easy to do.
So the
Questions are,
AI actually just creates the videos based on the information that's given to it.
yeah. So what I do here, what I've done, because I wasn't sure, I'm pretty picky about that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, this is, how's this going to work and stuff like that. And so what I do is I go in and I go ahead and so here's the one on the communication. So what I did is I just did kind of a mind dump, and I did a mind dump on the amiable, the strengths of the amiable for communication, the strengths of the analytics, strengths of the expressive driver. I just took all of this, and then I took all the weaknesses of each of the four, and then I took the combined, and then Life Masteries Institute media team went through and just took all of these, and then they just put it into the AI. I reviewed it, said here's some tweaks on it, had some other people did some preliminary testing on it and stuff like that, and I was amazed. It's like on how easy it is to be able to produce something on a topic. And so
Hmm.
it can be on any topic that you want it to be. It can blend all the things together. It's just really neat.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And what's cool to me is once they've done the personality, then you can build out topics. You can build out topics of interest, and it always knows what their personality is. So it gives them context. And so, anything that they're interested in, it will know their personality. So it gives them specifically, what they're looking for. So immediately in a very short period of time, like it's a minute, 2.5 minutes. So they're still working on the UX, the user experience, and integrating that into the UI. And so when you join, they're working heavily on that now. So you join my friendship group. And so they're working on how do you create an experience where somebody goes and says, wow, I've never seen anything like you've seen me do the over the years, the personality assessment on people,
All
and
right.
people are just like, that's amazing. So Life Masteries is really close to being able to clone that and actually make it to where anybody could have that experience at any time. Anybody could give that experience. Anybody could receive that experience. It's just, it's just neat.
Amazing. I remember a few times when I just called you off the cuff with somebody I'm sitting with, hand them the phone, and within a couple minutes, you've given them their personality, and I sit there and watch them just be blown away that this is somebody that they've never met, never talked to, ask them a few questions, and nailed them as to what their personality really was.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Amazing.
just, so now, again, there's still a lot of work to do on it, but from the last time you've seen it, there's a lot more here. And so I wanted to show that to you, get you involved in, one of the groups like the friendship group and kind of have you experience those types of things and then give feedback. And, there might be some people. So I can see it working in any business, any industry. I can see it working with great causes, and so nonprofit organizations and raising funds or awareness or any of those type of things, and being like in fundraising, like you had supported Easter Seals back. And so in fundraising for great causes, if you appeal to somebody based on their personality, they're more likely to participate or become aware of a situation or to give money or whatever that cause is. So it really takes this to another whole level in being able to connect and move people in ways that, I've never seen, possible. It's just neat. Other
And
question.
how do you price this out?
Uh, this is preliminary. So Life Masteries doesn't know. They don't know. Right now, everything is, they're just pilot testing it and they're giving it away and doing everything. So they're asking me and other people, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know. So that would be something like the first companies that would come on, it would probably be like they have an idea of their cost and what it takes to do everything, but it would be something that would be a kind of a trial thing and say, well, what do you think and how do you do that? So the initial companies that are coming on, they would go ahead and kind of come work with Life Masteries Institute to come up with, well, what is the pricing? What would it be? Any of the, any extra that Life, because it's a nonprofit, they're hoping just to cover their cost. And if they have anything extra over and above that, then they dish that to other great causes, and so it's a model that is a really neat model.
Very interesting. Can't wait to try it out.
Right. I'm excited. Um, any other questions, Tom? Any other thoughts you have?
No, I'm sure I'll have plenty when I start, playing around with it and seeing what it's like.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So if you're listening to the rebroadcast of this podcast, you have any questions, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300 outside the US 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish far more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.